Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am here to do a review on Wife Swap Season 1, Episode 4, Goss versus Joseph Family. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my family and to all of my new subscribers. Everybody needs a sweet old auntie, right? Having one, it just would be nice. Cause everybody needs a sweet old auntie, right? So welcome to Auntie's Advice. Welcome to the family and to all of my nieces and nephews who have been here with your auntie for the long haul. Thank you so much for your continued love and support. Y'all, let's go ahead on and get into this episode of Wife Swap. For all of you all who don't watch it, ain't no problem. Just sit down on the sofa and auntie will tell you all about it, okay? You know what? That's starting to bother me. Get up there right. But anyway, okay, y'all. Where do we start with this family right here? We met the Goss family, okay? The Goss family is Nina, her husband Nina, and Matt. And they have 8, count them, 8 children that range in age from teenagers all the way down to a toddlers. All right, they live in a household where everything goes, okay? And I mean everything blows too. We'll get into that. They believe that, their house is built on chaos. They are the quote unquote Christian family with Christian values, except for I think they're a little bit skewed. Okay? They believe that the father is the head of the household. He is the king of the mansion, and that everybody else is supposed to just follow up underneath that. He and both his wife, they work. And, she goes to work at night. He goes to work during the day. And she gets home from work, and she also homeschools the kids. Now, how she's finding energy to do all of this stuff, I don't know. Okay, ain't none of my business, but I'm just saying. And so, she believes that the house, doesn't have to be clean, that you need to live in the moment. And I'm just like, these some nasty mofos up in here, okay? I mean, let's just go ahead on and keep it 100. You got to clean up. Now, when you keep your house continuously clean, it's a job, but it's a real big job when you don't keep it clean, okay? When you got to go back and okay? And so, the father, he raises the kids. He believes that the children should be chaperoned when they go out on dates, and all of that kind of stuff. Just, believe that, the first commandment is that the husband is the head of the household, and the second commandment, the wife has to be submissive, and the third commandment, spare the rod, spoil the child. So, they want them kind of type families. You know what I'm saying? Sitting high up on the hill and judging everybody. And so, we have the other family, which is, a same-sex couple. They both husbands. And their names is Jarius and Toriel. They said right after they graduated from college, the two of them decided that they were going to get married, and they brought their house, and they got their 2 little kids. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know whether or not the children are mixed or not, but the children look like they mixed, and I said that for a reason, and I'll tell you why I said that later on. They, both prim and proper, and, think that they all of that. They the new millennials, and, they know everything, and everything is, their way or the highway. But they got some serious complexes and some serious issues that I won't feeling. And frankly, to be honest with you, I was quite embarrassed by this daggone couple, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead on and keep it 100 out here. That I was very embarrassed by the way that Jerry has acted and the way that he treated this wife. They have a very clean family. They have like I said, their two little babies. They look like they probably about a year apart. And they said that they, run their house with modern technology. They got their kids on monitors and all of that kind of stuff. And, they're very clean, and they have a nanny that comes over and helps them, with their children. And I don't know, really what the other one does. Terrell, I don't know what he does. I don't know if he doesn't work, if he's a stay-at-home dad. I don't know what the hell he is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was clearly defined or not. But at this point, your auntie skipped all over top of it, okay? So basically, they decided they're going to go into they're going to swipe swap, and they're going to go into the homes. Now, of course, this is a traditional family who believes that, it's Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. So you can imagine Matt's surprise and the disgust that was on his face when he walked up in his house and he saw this black gay man up in his household, all right? He won't feeling it at all, okay? The kids was looking shocked and everything, and because hey, they don't believe in this because they are traditionally religious. And so, I don't know what was said, off camera, but he wasn't feeling it. You could tell by his reaction. And the same thing that when she went into the household, she quickly realized that this was a household with, two men living together who are married to each other. And so, of course, with her, she got to put her, stuff to the side too. And so, they have an opportunity, to, when the husband, they look at the house, and she was like, this is neat and everything, and they're not going to like my house, you know what I'm saying, because we don't believe in, the house being like this. She felt very uncomfortable in the house because it was so clean. And here's my thing, like I was telling my daughter, the Bible says that cleanliness is next to godliness. And see, when you start being all religious and all of that kind of stuff, you can't, have your cake and eat it too. If you're going to be living that way, all staunchy and all religious and all of that, you got to live the whole Bible out. Why your house so nasty? So anyway, let me not get ahead of myself, okay? Because I'm trying to keep it dignified, on here, because I get, straight rickety raw on all my other reviews, and so these I want to, just be like a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? So basically, Torrell goes into the household. He is observing the home and everything. He opens up the dishwasher. There's dishes in it and mold. I said, this is nasty. Now, imagine me. I'm sitting there eating breakfast, and I see mold all up in these mofos' dishwasher. Like, how in the hell did your dishwasher have mold in it? And dishes. It's stuff all over the cabinet while he's sitting there reading the book and everything, about what this family is about and their traditional religious views and all this kind of stuff. One of the dogs, a little chihuahua, gets up off the backside. Bitch, you hear me? The backside of the sofa. Take his little chihuahua ass down on the daggone rug and poops. And I mean, when I'm talking about poop, I'm talking about it looked like a milkshake, okay? It had brought all the dogs to the yard. And he was like, no, this dog did not just poop. First of all, when he came in the house and he saw the mess, he was like, the house smells horrible. It has a funny smell. It has a stank smell up in it. And then your dog gets off the back of the sofa. He goes down there and he poops on the floor. But when the family came in that mofo, this religious Christian family with all these Christian values, everybody stepped over the poop. Y'all ain't see that daggone stuff on the... Y'all did not see that poop and smell that poop on that daggone rug? Y'all ain't see that. Y'all ain't smell that. So what do it smell like? Poop and food and it was food all on the table. They said that they had left it over from the night before. What? Who lives like that? The Goss family. They ought to be people clean up a little bit. But see, that's because you don't feel like it's anything wrong with how you living, so you ain't feel like you want to clean it up. And here you got him in here, you know what I'm saying? And he's looking like, what the freak, what the dog doodle is going on in here? Y'all, I'm telling you, it was so foul. How did your chihuahua, your grown chihuahua, jump down on the floor? Jesus. Okay. So anyway, you know, she's over there in the meantime, in between time, and Jerry comes in, and he, you know, has a little baby. He's got, you know, a little nanny with him, and automatically he judges this woman. Automatically, he judges this woman because he has a complex with himself being black and gay. Yes, I said it. He has a problem with himself. The problems that he have is not with this woman. So he comes into the household. The woman is talking about how much she loves children. And, you know, she wants to just, you know, pinch their little cheeks and everything. And he's like, you can't even touch the kids. So why the hell did you do the wife swap? If the woman can't touch your kids, why did you do the wife swap? Like, I wasn't understanding it. He finds out that she's from a religious family, and the first thing that he asks her is, how do you feel about gay people? Do you feel like it's a sin? If she's a Christian, then 9 times out of 10, she feels like it's a sin. And you know, the thing about it is, whether or not you condone it or you don't condone it, the Bible is the Bible and the words don't change. The Bible does say that it is a sin. That doesn't mean that that's how you feel about it. So he came into the house already judging her, judging himself. He judged himself first. He put her in a box. To me, I thought it was reverse racism. He automatically put her in a box that she was prejudiced against him because of his race and who he slept with. He didn't even give this woman the benefit of the doubt. And here she is on a wife swap. You got your little nanny with you and she can't touch your children. And then he's sitting up there talking about how she didn't sterilize her hands. How you sterilize hands? You can wash them, but your children too good for her to touch them? Like, I was offended for her. Like, you don't treat a person like that. And all throughout the whole swap, this mofo sat there and treated this woman like she was nothing. Because you got a complex. You not okay with you. He says that he's a traditional Christian. No, you're not. The very thing you say that you are, you hate. Because this woman never came off. See, he was looking for an argument and he was looking for something to be there, like she said, that wasn't there. He was looking for a war with this woman about religion. And this woman did not come there for that. She didn't know whose house she was going to go to. Yes, she has Christian values. Yes, she does believe that the Bible does say that it's a sin. When he asked her about it, she said there are many sins in the Bible. Who am I to say which one is the greater, or who am I to judge based on that? But he automatically judged her as being I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed as a black person that he would treat her that way. In my opinion, he wanted her to pay for every sin of her forefathers. She is not her forefathers. And everybody is entitled to believe the way that they believe. But she didn't come in his house looking for a war. She didn't come in his house judging him. Now, was it different and was it uncomfortable to her? Absolutely. But it was just as uncomfortable for her, for his husband, Terrell, who was at the other house. The father, Matt, asks Terrell, what are you? Are you the more feminine one? Or are you the wife? Are you considered the wife? And he's like, no, we're two men. But let me tell you something to heterosexuals who don't understand that community, who don't understand what it is to interact with people who are in same-sex relationships. We don't understand how it works. And it's not something that we mean, or not we, that people mean to be disrespectful, or we're just ignorant to it. We don't know if all the things are true, that, there's a top and a bottom. Like, people don't know. And so if they ask you about it, you don't have to automatically be offended by it. But if you're walking around with that complex on you that I'm a man, I'm a black man, and I'm being judged and mistreated and held back and discriminated against because I'm black and I'm gay, it's not her that did it to you. He was looking for a war up front. I was so mad at him. They went out on a walk. Jarius and Nina went out on a walk. This may be like day 2 or 3. She still ain't even touched the kids. She still ain't even hugged them or smelled them. And this is a wife swap. Because he wouldn't allow her to touch the children. He had a nanny there. Some little black chick acting just as ignorant as he is. Or he was. Judgmental. Acting like they all that. Degrading this woman every opportunity that they got. They degraded this woman. Because she was white. And see, the very same thing that you don't want to happen to you, you do to her. That ain't cool, bitch. It's not cool. It's not cool to treat somebody a certain kind of way based on your insecurities, based on your experience, because everybody's different. And I'm not saying this woman didn't have her preconceived notions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when she came into the house with an open mind, for the most part. Yes, that's a shock for her to get over. But he didn't even allow her that. So she was trying to make an analogy about something. And she used dog food. As far as protecting your children and protecting, and she said, if your children are going to eat dog food, then, you're going to tell them not to. He got offended and thought that she was comparing homosexuality to a dog. That's not what she was saying at all. At all. And as a result, the next day, he was sitting there on the sofa, pompous than a mofo. Him and the nanny. And he told her that in order to make her feel like she's home, he wanted her to go outside and pick up the dog poop. He thought that that was okay. Here this woman has swapped lives with him. He's supposed to be a Christian with Christian values. A man who understands racism and discrimination. And he tells her that he usually has his pooper scooper person to come. But he canceled it so that she can go out and scoop it up herself so she can feel more at home. Because he felt like an analogy that she used was an attack on him as a man. So she went outside and she picked up poop while him and the black nanny stood up on the patio and thought it was funny. They antagonized this woman and treated her like she was nothing. And they thought it was okay. It took everything I had to keep my emotions intact. How dare you treat another human being like that because of what you have experienced from others? How dare you degrade that woman who is raising 8 children and has a husband? She's a human being. First. The very thing that you experience, you perpetrate onto someone else. We've made great strides in this country, and we still need to make more. But for you to do this on national TV and think it was cool, and think that we, educated black people, subscribe to that bullshit. To treat somebody that way, I was devastated. I've never been so disgusted in my life. And just because you're gay, it doesn't give you the right to treat someone that way. Because you misunderstood an analogy. I was embarrassed as a black woman to see you behave in such a nasty, foul-ass way. I don't subscribe to racism. I don't subscribe to bigotry. I don't subscribe to that. I don't even know how they aired it. It's not cool. Just the husband over there with Terrell asked a question that may have been offensive to him, but I never saw him degrade him. He did shade him. He made a shady comment, but he didn't degrade him, even though he didn't agree. This episode was disgusting. And Jerry's, you ain't above nobody. Your education doesn't put you above anybody. Your marital status, where you live. He had the audacity to ask her, where does she live? She said, I live in a very affluent neighborhood. And then he came out his trick bag and said, we don't have but 2 white families that live out here. What's your point? What was your point? We are all human beings at the end of the day. We have rights as human beings. You don't treat people that way. Oh, I was so mad. I'm trying to keep my composure. You can't make everybody pay for your sins, mofo. Get over it. If you're going to be a black gay man, then you need to toughen your skin up. And yes, do some of us experience racism? Yes, we do. But it is not an excuse or a ticket to treat people the way that you did. You ought to be ashamed of yourself to make that woman go in that backyard and pick that poop up off that ground. And make fun of her and think it's funny. It wasn't funny. I wouldn't even want to be associated with you. I would cut you off at the knees if I was your friend. I would never allow you in my house. I would never deal with you, Jarius. You or Terrell. Because when you told Terrell about what you did, he thought it was funny. And it won't. Terrell goes over into the house. He makes everybody clean up, as he should. The daughter was sweet, had a sweet 16 party, and well, it wasn't a party, but she was going out on a date, and the father felt like, you know, she needed to be chaperoned, and so he chaperoned her on the party. And you know, I mean, at her date with her boyfriend, her little boyfriend gave her a ring that his grandmother had given to his mother when she was 16. And Terrell felt very uncomfortable. And so as soon as he had the opportunity to, you know, put his rules in place, he decided that she should be able to go out. He told the dad that, you know, basically, you know, you raise your children, you do what you do with your children, and you should trust them. But the dad had a problem with it. The dad spanked his children, as many families do, and Terrell thought that that was wrong of him to spank, you know, his children and everything. And, you know, he decided that, you know, the best method was timeout. Let me tell you something. Timeout didn't work for my child. Okay? It didn't work. Sitting in the corner, it didn't work. Sitting on the stairs, didn't work. I do believe that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Now, I don't believe that you got to be beating them like they prisoners. But I do believe that a good little whooping, you know, is good for all of them. I mean, I got them, and I'm still here. Now, do some parents take it out overboard? Absolutely, they do. And so I believe what works out for you is fine for you. But in their household, all the father did was spank the child on the butt one time. Some people have been beat with cords and iron cords and sticks and brooms and switches and all of that kind of stuff. Then to me, that's when you start abusing children. You know what I mean? And you know what? When our generation, when I was coming up, a switch was commonplace, okay? And not the brown switch where it would break when it made contact with your body. They would tell you go out there and get your own switch, and that mofo better be green because they needed it to last as long as your ass whooping did. You know what I'm saying? Now I didn't do that with my child, okay? You know, everything in moderation. You can't, you know, you can't beat the child to death. But the timeout didn't work for their household because the little boy had already, you know, he just was who he was. But he did, you know, allow the daughter at 16 years old to go out and have a date with her boyfriend without, you know, being chaperoned. And I mean, you know, that's cool in the game. The father didn't like it when he had the whole family cleaning up. You know, the father said, I'll be right back. He never came back to help clean up. And the oldest daughter was a little irritated with her dad because she said, this is what he does. He says he's going upstairs for a few minutes and he doesn't come down. And she felt like her dad should participate, that he shouldn't feel like he's the king on the hill. But as long as your mama, as long as Nina allows him to do that, that's what he's going to do. And so, over at the Joseph household, Nina made a decision that the nanny was to go home. And she told Jarius, you need to have an opportunity to handle your children on his own. So Jarius, who had been looking for a fight anyway, told her that what she was implying was that he was unable to take care of his children on his own. And that ain't what she implied. But it didn't make a difference what she did or what she said. You were gonna fight with her because of the simple fact she was white. It didn't make a difference what she said out of her mouth just because she was white. But you didn't treat her any better than slave masters treated your slaves. You stood up on your deck, you and that old nanny of yours, and sipped on tea and laughed at her. I wonder how your employer and everybody felt about what you did. I wonder how your family and stuff feel about what you did. Because I wouldn't bunk with you no more. That's the truth. But anyway, Auntie got to get off that. As y'all can see, it truly bothered me. It truly bothered me. But anywho. So, basically, the two families came together and they discussed it. And when he found out, when Matt found out that his wife had been treated in such a poor way, because see, they sat at the table and the wife talked about how uncomfortable, Terrell talked about how uncomfortable he was in her house because it was so filthy. And she talked about how uncomfortable she was that it was so clean and that she could not even be a mom to the kids. She couldn't touch them, she couldn't hold them, she couldn't do anything. She asked, Jarius to say that they need to have time where they eat with their children and stuff like that. And Jarius was like, I don't eat baby food, so we don't eat at the table together. We put them to get bed and then we eat. Bitch, what are you talking about? While my daughter was eating her Gerber food, I was eating mine. I was eating my food. What do you mean? When she asked him to have Bible study time, he said, well, you judging me saying that I don't have it. Well, she wouldn't have judged you and said you didn't have it. She was there for a couple of days. She didn't observe it. She didn't observe you praying over your food. She didn't observe it. And as a Christian woman, she wanted those values in your house. But even over at the other house, the father I didn't see him with Christian values either. Because his house was too dirty. They stressed me out. They stressed me out. So when they told, when the wife shared about how she had to go and pick up the poop, her husband went off. He got up from that table and walked in the back, and he had to pray. And I thought that was very mature of him. He said, Lord, help me with this because I feel like I want to reach across that table and smack him in his face. Now, was that a little bit of drama? Yeah. But I can understand. Because had it been another family, he probably would have gotten smacked in his face. And then, what? He apologized. He said, I owe you an apology for treating you that way. Well, I owe you an apology. It's not an apology. But he realized how wrong he was. And he probably realized how that's going to come off on television. Jarius, don't do another show until you get over your hang-ups. See, because you hate yourself. Allegedly. Seemingly. You hate who you are. You said that you went to a church and they made you feel so bad about homosexuality that you almost didn't marry Terrell. Those your problems. Not Nina's. You are disgusting. I said it. Based on my observation, you're disgusting. And whatever come to you, boo, you so deceitful with. See, I'm sure that you're religious and so is the other family. You remember that scripture in the Bible? This is by the same measure that you judge and treat somebody else, you'll be measured and treated by the same. She read it to you, Matthew 25. So while you up on your high horse, trying to make everybody, want to be validated, validate yourself. See, I'm okay with me. I'm okay with me and all my flaws. And I don't blame every white person that I come across. I don't blame them for what happened to my ancestors. I don't make them responsible for that. I love people for who people are, the content of their character. I don't believe and subscribe to that stuff you did. But I'm going to tell you, you reap what you sow. Whatsoever a man soweth, he shall reap it. So when you start having a whole lot of problems and backlash from this episode, you sowed that seed. You a negative person. Don't ever do TV again. This episode of Wife Swap, y'all, had your auntie on the verge of tears. On the verge of tears. I was so disgusted. But anyway, I can't even leave this with no funny note because there was nothing funny about it. She did say that, she did have some things in her heart, as it related to the Bible. And so she apologized too. And, they ended up, bumping knuckles and everything. But at the end of the day, there was a bigger story to this. It was bigger than that. And they were able to walk away. And, I don't know if I could have. I just don't know if I could have. But I really would like to get a follow-up on how he's doing on his job. How his employers feel about how he treated that woman. I'm very curious to know that. But anyway, you all, this is part 3 and the end of my marathon. Thank you all so much for your support. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And make a comment in the comment section about how you felt about this particular episode of Wife Swap. So I'll be right back very shortly, and I will be doing my review on Little Women of Atlanta. Hope to see you all then. And then don't forget that tomorrow, April 28th, is the big day where we will be going back into 90 Day Fiance. I'm so excited about that. I have seen different people doing reviews on it and being ready for the season, but I was like, you know what, I want to wait until the season starts. And of course, you all know that I am packing. What you don't see is all the mess that's in the house of the stuff that we're packing as we prepare to make yet another move. But stay tuned for my review on tomorrow and my review on Monday, as 90 Day Fiance will be doing a new show called Pillow Talk, and I'm going to be trying to stay up and burn the midnight oil so that I can get that review to you Monday night, and I don't get behind like this. I'm really behind. But again, thank you all so much for your continued support, and know that I love you to pieces. Bye bye.